Why is dating advice confusing and inconsistent? This is because most people and demographics are coming from their own experience, own values, and own outlook. For many, it comes with hanging out with a specific kind of demographic, which paints their entire experience and interactions. Which means, most often than not, the advice you get from some people will be more in line with their thought process and the subculture they immerse themselves in. For example, we could take political circles to illustrate this. In the conservative circles, which values tradition, there's the expectation that a man has to be the man and a woman has to be the woman. This can translate to a man needing to be a leader, make the first move, plan the date, charm her, etc., and the woman being more cooperative, following the man's lead, not be too forward, let the man chase her, etc. Which means most dating advice coming from someone with a conservative background is going to lean more traditional. Then, in more liberal environments, nobody really dates there. Due to being a population minority and not wanting to deny their existence, they place immense value in wanting to be around environments that allow them to be completely themselves, without being tied to gender roles or pressures that come with the sex they were assigned to. This is especially true when it comes to matters of sexuality. This makes them seek out alternative communities such as kink or LGBTQ or any socially liberal communities where they can be themselves. Without getting too deep into it, they often preach starting off as friends first with your partners and letting it grow naturally to something more, rather than deliberately making it happen, which falls in line with wanting to surround yourself with things that like you for you from the start to finish. The reason why pointing this out is very important is because when it comes to those two sides specifically, they have fundamental differences to the point that they outright despise each other, and there are frequent discussions about who's right, who's wrong, and which way is better for the world and why everyone should follow it. However, subgroups that contribute to confusing advice isn't just political groups. There are plenty of groups putting out their own ideas such as PUA, Red Pill, FDS, etc. Part of the reason we hear very different and contradictory dating advice is because each person who buys into an ideal often thinks their ideals are right and other people's ideals are wrong, which then boils down to social frame dominance. Does that mean any of their advice doesn't work? It doesn't mean that. And when you look at it deeply, almost all dating advice works as long as it gives you the opportunity to have a dating life. When I have heard from all sides, I found myself agreeing with a couple of their points and disagreeing with another. Once I realized the lifestyle I myself live is different than some of the communities they're involved with, this gives me a clear picture of why I listen to some of their advice but not others. I have experienced where when someone tells me a strategy doesn't work, I have the opposite experience using that strategy. So so the point of all of this is that two people live very contradictory lives, that dating advice that works for you is going to likely to come from someone who understands you the most and understands the lifestyle that you live. And there'll be more value to that. So that is the end of the video. If you like what you saw, please like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you on the next one.